Hello, hello. Happy Autism Awareness Day. I don't know if that's a happy or just welcome to Autism Awareness Day. And this live about seeing some of the labels such as autism as the capacity and ability and gifts that they are rather than disabilities. So I am on vacation on spring break with my girls. So they're in the house running around having fun. So I came out here on the patio. So I hope the noise is okay. Every once in a while there will be a helicopter or a motorcycle driving by. I just did a Instagram live. So I know the noise is pretty good, but just to give you a heads up. Okay, so welcome to really a different perspective on being different. One of the places I'm streaming today is, and I have a Facebook group that I started a few years ago called the Neon Sheep Lounge, based on being a neon sheep. What is a neon sheep? Well, I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with being the phrase of being the black sheep of the family, like the one that doesn't fit in with everybody else. And what if instead of being a black sheep, are you actually a neon sheep, trying to fit maybe most of our lives into maybe not having our neon colors show? But what if that difference of you is the gift? So on today, Autism Awareness Day, and the whole month is Autism Awareness Month, I'd like to just have a short conversation about really how can we start to look at these labels and things, whether you have people in your life, kids, friends, family, you yourself, that have been labeled with anything like autism, ADHD, ADD, OCD, and or maybe you haven't been labeled, but you know you're different, or the kids or people in your life, they function differently. And one of the words that has come up in the last years that I think is a really an invitation to this area in a different way rather than labels that are disabilities is neurodiversity. And neurodiversity, there's a really cool, I think this is the definition from Harvard, or I'm not sure. I pulled it off of the internet, but it basically describes the idea that people experience and interact with the world around them in many different ways. There's no one right way of thinking, learning, and behaving, and the differences are not viewed as deficits. So that's really what I'd like to talk about today is the differences, no matter whether they're a label or not, just anything that is different about you or the people in your life, not being a deficit, not being wrong, but actually being a way of seeing and interacting with the world differently that can bring new possibilities here, new creations. Like if you look at the people in the world that have really changed things and moved our world and society forward, they were often the square pegs that don't fit in the round hole, right? And just kept going, and in their lives dealt with a lot of stuff of being different and not fitting in. And what if that's actually the key? So we could actually have some tools and questions to make it easier to not have to try to fit ourselves into a box, but instead living outside of the box and inviting other people to maybe see different perspectives and things like that. So one of the things with these labels is when you don't label something as a deficit or a wrongness, that's when you can actually see the capacity in it. So in being different, being a neon sheep, one question you can ask, and I'd love to give you this tool. It's one of the things, it's one of my favorites, is to ask, what's right about me that I'm not getting or seeing? Or what's right about this if there's a situation that's been hard, like school, work, organizing things, interacting with people, being social. What's right about this that I'm not getting? What's right about me that I'm not getting? And these are not questions that you are going to solve logically. One of the gifts of people that have the label of autism, ADHD, ADD is that there is actually no right brain, left brain linear function. It's whole brain function, which basically is a superpower capacity, and you receive so much information at once. Like an ADHD, ADD, it kind of manifests as, I don't know how to organize everything, or I can't keep track, because you have so much information coming in at once. With autistic kids, that can often show up, there's many different ways, right? But so much information is getting downloaded at once, it can seem overwhelming. So either that can result in like withdrawal because there's so much to process, or frustration because they are actually so fast and we as a society think they're slow or not getting it, where they just got a whole universe downloaded in a second of information. So it's actually an invitation to us to step up and speed up and allow the people in the world that are different, rather than having them fit in with us, to ask, wow, how are you perceiving the world? What are you looking at? What are you perceiving? And going in their direction, which is like, hey, there's all of these things that are possible. And why is everyone else so slow or only looking through a very linear lens? Cool. Cool. So that question, what's right about me or about this that I'm not getting, is wonderful. And then I just alluded to another key thing is the question of like, what am I perceiving? Or if you have someone in your life that has this label or functions differently, is how are you perceiving this, or what are you perceiving? Meaning, for example, last night, I'm on vacation and I took my girls we were going to go out to eat because we just got here. Let's go to a restaurant. We walked in and there was so much going on, like filled with people waiting, lots of noise, on the water. There's like crab pots and everything everywhere. And they were like, nope, let's walk out of here. And before, there's definitely been times I've been like, no, like, let's make this work. Why is this hard for you? But it's also not the most ease for me either. I was like, okay, what are you perceiving? And so if you walk into, say, a group of people or a party or a crowded situation, which often those things can be difficult for kids with autism or some of these labels or people, instead of going, oh my God, I feel overwhelmed or stressed. When you ask, what are you perceiving? Oh, do you perceive a lot of information, a lot of stress, contraction, anger, whatever's going on in the world of all of those people, past, present, and future? There's also like not just one linear time. It's like superpower. So with all that information, when you ask the question, what are you perceiving, or how are you perceiving this? One, it's an invitation to see the world through their eyes, or acknowledge that you are seeing the world in a different perspective. But also it takes it out of feeling like all like it's yours. Like, oh, I'm perceiving a lot of anger, upset, stress, like anxiety. It's not mine. I'm perceiving it in the world around me. So that other question of, is this yours? Like everything that you're perceiving, is it yours? Is it mine? Oh, it's not all mine. Just because you're aware of it and perceiving it doesn't mean it's all personal or all yours. That is a game changer for people. It was for myself too, to realize, wow, we actually have a capacity to receive all of the thoughts, feelings, emotions, points of view going on in everyone around us, in a restaurant like that, maybe even in the whole city, even further out than that. So those can be questions that can really invite and empower someone to not see this huge universe without like linearizing into right brain, left brain function as a gift. And actually, what do we do with that information? If you have not seen, I just did an Instagram live before this. I'm going to repeat a couple of things because I know some people are on Facebook and not on Instagram or on YouTube. If you have not seen the movie Temple Grandin, it's a beautiful movie about a true story, a woman named Temple Grandin who is autistic and visually represents in that movie, and also it like is such a different way of looking at autism. When she was young, she was about 4 years old, she got diagnosed as autistic, and her mom, the mom was told to put her in an institution for the rest of her life. And her mom said, nope, I'm not doing that. And really put her in situations and schools around teachers, mentors that could actually see her brilliance and get her gift in a different way. She also had a lot of really challenging times, which you will see in that movie. But in that, she revolutionized this. Thank you. It's Deborah already said, it's on Netflix. It's amazing. And I've watched it several times. If you have not watched it, watch it. If you have watched it, I invite you to watch it again after kind of looking at these things and yourself, maybe from the question of, what's different about me that I haven't acknowledged? Like if I didn't try to fit in with everybody else, what difference am I? What capacities do I have that maybe I haven't explored? And I watched that movie recently and just cried from relief of, wow, an acknowledgement of, I don't have any of those labels. And I am definitely very high functioning, probably autistic. definitely ADHD. You know, I have 30 tabs on my computer open at all times. And it's one of the things that makes me able to do the jobs I do. I, you know, can manage 20 projects, have multiple businesses. It's these things when you don't see them as something that's wrong, really can flip 180 degrees to showing up as what they are inviting us to, like a mutation of our species. If you've seen, you know, I'm an access consciousness facilitator, and we have a whole body of work where we call people that have these labels, affectionately refer to them as X-Men, like the movies where, okay, these superpowers, all the X-Men are different, and they all actually function differently. And it's like an advancement of the species. So rather than seeing it as wrong, what if all these kids showing up? I mean, then the labels are getting more and more common, right? What if that's not wrong? What if that mutation or difference is actually a way of being like, hey, we see the world differently, and what's been going on here isn't working great. You know, we're killing our planet. We have a lot of wars and fighting and separation. These people don't see the world the same way. So what are they being and inviting us to if we didn't try to make it wrong, and really looked into them, to ourselves, to explore that capacity? Okay, so one of the other things is, another tool I want to give you, if you have something that you've been made wrong for, or a person in your life has been made wrong for, again, you know, we asked what's right about this, but take that. And if you're wondering, I don't know what my capacities or gifts are, I just feel wrong all the time, take something that you think is your like biggest wrongness. Like for me, a lot of the times it was I couldn't focus on one thing. I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up. There was like a bazillion things in my world. Very like I was made wrong for not being grounded or being able to figure things out. Okay, take whatever wrongness that is for you, or you know, someone in your life, and flip it 180 degrees, and then ask, oh, and then maybe multiply it by a bunch and ask, what's the capacity or superpower there if it weren't a wrongness and I flipped it? So what if instead of like that, oh, I can't focus on anything, or I'm not grounded, is actually flip it, oh, I can't focus on one thing, I have the ability to hold multiple universes, things, projects, people, thoughts, points of view in my awareness at once. So again, everything is the opposite of what it appears to be. So when we start to look at things and labels instead of the wrongness and ask what the capacity is, have fun playing with that. It's one of my favorite tools, and it just basically flips something on its head. And for those of us and people in our lives that have these labels, pretty much the world is a big everything is the opposite of what it appears to be, and nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be. So everything is bloop, 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 and mutable and changeable and way faster than the rest of the world is going. Okay, cool. So the other thing I'd like to invite you to is, so that movie Temple Grandin, there's a book called Would You Teach a Fish to Climb a Tree by Anne Maxwell, Gary Douglas, and Dane Heer. You can get it. It's also on Audible. It's a phenomenal invitation to look at these labels as from a different perspective. That title comes from, you maybe heard the Einstein quote. I'm going to get this a little bit wrong, but if you judged a fish its whole life by its ability to climb a tree, it would spend its whole life thinking it's stupid or believing it's stupid, right? So on next week, on Saturday, April 8th, I believe, Saturday the 8th, I believe so. Yes, I'm doing an online little class, like an hour and a half for $20 based on that book. You don't have to have read the book. If it interests you, you know, get an Audible, buy it, read it, but you don't have to have read it to come. But it's basically looking a deeper exploration that I'm going to do in this like 15 minutes of how we can start really empowering ourselves and others to expand upon these capacities and brilliances and bring them to the world in a different way, because it's a never-ending expansion that you can keep exploring with this. There's always more spaces to open up, always more differences, always more a different perspective and ways to look at things. So I want to invite you to that. If you go to, I'll actually put up my website, emilyevansrussell.com/X-Men. You'll see the information for that class and how to register. It's just $20. I also have a telecall coming up, some other classes, but that's a really simple way to dive in and start looking at this from a different perspective. What else did I want to mention? Because I had a couple things. Okay. One more thing before we go. Another gift of having this like broader perspective, ADD, ADHD, autism, is the ability I like to call extrapolation, which is something also I didn't realize was a gift. But what most of us and people in this world we're taught to do is to kind of triangulate or make a conclusion to one answer or one thing that works. That's how we've been taught we're supposed to make our life work, is like kind of like a power strip. Like, here's option A, B, C, D, and E. How can you plug in and fit in here to make your life work? That for people that function differently does not work. Has that worked well for you? Instead, when you look at, rather than like contracting or concluding to different things that are supposed to work or triangulating ideas, extrapolation is where we go, there's this in my world, in my ideas, in my awareness, and how can I use that to my advantage, or what can I create with that? Rather than having to go this way to figure things out and make it work, extrapolation and the gift of holding lots of universes in your awareness at once, ADD, ADHD, autism, not separating information into right and left brain, but receiving it all, is like the capacity to extrapolate and create new things from like, oh my gosh, there's this, and this, and this. It's inventive, it's creative, it brings things into existence that haven't been here before. So what if instead of trying to make yourself fit or make anyone in your life that's been made wrong for being different fit, what if we could explore the difference by asking questions like that and going, what capacity do I have for extrapolation? What are you perceiving here? How are you perceiving this? What's right about you you're not getting? These are really simple questions, but when you ask them, put them in people's world, in your world, what starts to open up is basically pathways, like neural pathways, where we've been trying to go, I'm going to go this way because this is how I fit in, or this is what's right, or this is what I know, to opening up different neural pathways. The capacity of you and your brain to start going in different directions and creating new things that I think the world is asking for you. And the difference, so that we can actually have something here show up that has not existed before. So thank you guys for being here. Again, if you're interested in more, check out the movie Temple Grandin or the book Would You Teach a Fish to Climb a Tree? Or join me next Saturday, April 8th online for a little mini online class where we'll get to go in a lot deeper into some of the tools and perspectives here that can really empower you or the people in your life to not feel wrong anymore and not have to hide away from situations, things that have been challenging before, but actually instead showing up more in your more potency and more with more confidence and not having to give up your difference, but actually stand in it and invite people to it. So thank you guys so much. Again, check all of that out at my website, EmilyEvansRussell.com/X-Men. And thank you for being live. And I hope to see you online or in person soon. Thank you guys. And what else for like Autism Awareness Day today? Like, go celebrate your difference or throughout the whole month. Like, what's one thing that you could do to honor and celebrate the difference of you that maybe you've made wrong or tried to hide? What if you could let that weird, wonderful difference of you out and also encourage it in others? That sounds like a lot more fun to me. Okay. Bye, everybody. Thank you. Bye-bye.